Well, this week we've got some knowledge nuggets to share with you. We're going to go mining some and sharing them with you. Also, we're going to be talking about knife modifications, and we'll spin around YouTube to see what we can see. Just a reminder, folks, all of the resources that I mentioned today will be linked in the description right below the video, and then also in the comment section just a little bit further down the page below this video. Let's get started. So your old cousin Jack started carving way back in 1987, and I've used a lot of different carving tools over the years. Today, I'm going to share some knife modifications with you that are effective and relatively easy for you to do right there at home. Let's start with mod number 1. So not long ago, we talked about the new FlexCut Pro Series knives, how they redesigned these knives with input from wood carvers, but I think they missed the boat on one thing, and that was the spine of the blades. They're squared off, they're not rounded over like you find in a lot of the better knives. And what about that? Well, it can cause you to have some soreness on your thumb from pressing on that squared off edge. It's got two sharp edges, one on each side, and it doesn't take much to round that over. So knife mod number 1 involves rounding the spine of your knife. This is relatively easy, and I've got some before and after photos of a Beavercraft Sloyd knife where I rounded that edge. You can see there's a pretty dramatic difference in how that looks and how it feels. So how do you do this? If you have a metal file, you can use that to kind of rough out the rounded over shape and then finish it off with some sandpaper. Another option would be to use a Dremel with a grinding stone burr to rough off the edges, make it round, and then finish with sandpaper. Or if you have a belt grinder, you can make quick work out of it, just grinding that edge, making it nice and round very quickly. Okay, for knife mod number 2, I call this one filling the gap, because nowadays I see quite a few of the bargain brand knives that are being sold where the handles have been drilled out and the tang of the knife is inserted in the hole that has been drilled. The problem with that is there's a big old gap, a hole in the handle, and that is inviting corrosion. So for example, when you're sharpening a knife, it's really easy for the slurry, that liquid slurry, to get down there into that hole. Not to mention dirt and dust and even small wood chips that can go on down in there and of course lead to corrosion. There's a quick and easy fix for this. That's 2-part epoxy. I've got a photo here of the Beavercraft Sloyd, and you can see I've used epoxy to fill in that gap. Now, in addition to preventing corrosion, that epoxy is also going to help to stabilize that tang, the blade, inside the knife. So you get sort of 2 benefits out of 1 modification. So for knife mod number 3, we're going to be talking about modifying the handle of your knife. You know, some carvers experience sore hands and sometimes even blisters from the handle of their knives. And I have a modification that will help provide more comfort, better grip, lessen fatigue, and also help prevent crimping. And it's really simple. It's just wrapping that handle. Now, I like to use what's called a tennis overgrip. This is made by Wilson. There are a lot of makers, a lot of colors, lots of different types that are available online. And what this does, it's been scientifically studied to show that it does help improve not only your grip but also lessen fatigue. Now, because I've used this for a number of years, I have learned that some of the color from this wrap, depending upon the finish that's on your handle, that color can bleed into the wood of your handle. So I do recommend putting a layer of 3M Coban directly on your handle and then putting the tennis overgrip around that. I think you'll really enjoy the way it feels, and you'll probably be able to tell the difference in terms of how long you can carve without any soreness or fatigue. So modification number 4 involves blades, and sometimes when you order knives you get these little plastic thin little blade covers that are kind of protecting the edge for shipping, and then also they help prevent you from cutting yourself when you're unboxing your knife. However, this is not a permanent solution, so I do recommend some kind of blade cover for you, and there's so many options, and let's talk about that. So for example, you could use cork like this, This is a Charles Simpson knife, and this cork has been on there for a while. Now, if you're going to use cork, I recommend that you sniff it first, make sure it's dry. If you smell wine in that cork, I would say avoid that because the acid from the wine can corrode your blade. Don't ask me how I know this. Also, you could use polystyrene foam. That's very popular for a blade cover. Another option would be plastic tubing. You can go to your hardware store and get some tubing cut into various lengths, depending upon what you need. And of course, it comes in a variety of sizes to start with. So that can be a really effective blade cover. Or you can, of course, make your own. You can go watch Doug's video. He'll show you how to make blade covers. This one is carved from poplar. Just a little thing I like to do is I put the eyes looking toward where that sharp edge of the blade is, so I know exactly where that sharpness is when I'm removing that blade cover. All right, so we've covered a number of different mods here. We talked about rounding the spine of the blade. We talked about filling that gap in the handle. We talked about the wrapping of the handle, and then also having different types of blade covers. There are more extreme types of blade modifications that you can make, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, what about you? Do you have a favorite type of material that you use for a blade cover? Or do you have some other tip that you want to share with your carving cousins? Put it in the comments section right below this video. Thanks for doing that. Well, up next we'll go to Ohio for a brand new blog post from the Woodbeecarver, Don Mertz. Don started carving way back in 1975, and he has been modifying knife blades for more than 40 years. So Don has a brand new blog post where he's talking about knife modifications. And he likes to share his ideas and thoughts. You know, every once in a while, he says, he still gets the urge to sort of experiment with different blade shapes that he likes to use for personal use. So he likes to use what he calls rescued blades from old pocket knives, and he used different parts and bits from handles from broken knives to kind of Frankenstein together some brand new modifications that he likes to try out. Now with the blog post, you'll find there are about a dozen photos that show you some of the old beat up pocket knives and the modifications that Don has made. It's very interesting to see, and I think you'll enjoy it. So go on over to the Woodbeecarver website and have a peek. Well, it's been about a year since Chris Pye added some new content to his YouTube channel. Chris is a person who lives in the UK. He's a master carver who has authored 8 woodcarving books, and he's published many articles as well. He's a teacher also. He teaches woodcarving workshops, and in his brand new video series, he's showing you how to carve an egg and dart molding pattern. Now this is a 4-part series, but it's way more than a tutorial video series because there are lots of knowledge nuggets, really valuable tips that are included in this series. So for example, he shows you how to use a piece of plastic for a design template. He also shows you a framework that you can build to hold the wood while you're carving, and how he made sort of a natural wood stain from instant coffee. These are just examples of some of the knowledge that he's sharing with you in this 4-part series. The videos are relatively short and quick to watch, and like I said, loaded with information. Now he also gives you a bonus project where he shows you how he makes what he likes to call an egg and toast board. And on top of all of that, he has a link in the description below his video where you can get a downloadable file with a pattern and his notes on the carving process. So there's a lot there. I hope you enjoy. So while we're talking about the UK, we'll visit with Clint Rose, and Clint has a brand new video as well. In this one, he's going to be repurposing an old table and some bed slats. So what Clint decides to do is take some old bed slats and create these mounds of wood that he attaches to the tabletop, and he uses those mounds to carve out a sea monster that looks like it's kind of swimming through a watery scene, which is the tabletop. This is a pretty cool idea, and he brings it to life. Now, Clint's going to show you some of the design process that he used and how he glued everything up, and of course the carving. He uses some power tools and then also hand tools to carve this sea monster. He also shows you the finishing process and the painting as well. So Clint does a really nice job, and in the end, he's going to show you the finished project. Now, there's one little piece I also want to share that in the video, Clint shares some time-lapse segments that are really cool and fun to watch. I recommend it. So take a look at Clint's website. He's got this video and many others. Well, next we'll go to Canada, and we'll introduce you to a carver by the name of Addie. Addie shares a lot of her photos of wood carvings on Instagram, and now she also has a YouTube channel as well. It's called CHE Woodcarving. In her new video, she's showing how she carves a little monkey face, and she's going to use that and attach it to a keychain. For the process, Addie is going to be using some rotary tools and then also some hand tools to carve this really small piece of pear wood. In the end, it's a really nice video. There's no talking. There's some light music that's playing in the background. And the video is nice and clear. It's easy to see what she's doing. Now, although Addie just really started publishing videos to YouTube in May, she already has 60 videos on her channel. So go on over there, take a look, and see what you think. Well, next, we'll visit with Andy Spoons. He's got that YouTube channel over in Australia. Andy lives in the Blue Mountain region, and this time around he's got a brand new video. It's called The 5-Minute Spoon Blank, and you probably have already guessed it's about carving a spoon blank. Well, he's going to be using a Gränsfors Brooks Swedish carving axe, and he's going to test it out to see if he can carve out a spoon blank in 5 minutes. Well, there's no talking during this video. You'll see a lot of chopping going on, and a very skilled carver with a $260 carving axe. And in the end, yeah, he's got a spoon blank in 5 minutes. It's kind of fun to watch, and you'll see just how talented Andy is. Take a look. Well, there's a new tutorial series from Dan Carpio. Dan lives in the US, and he's got a brand new project basically carving the figure Daffy Duck from the old Looney Tunes cartoons. Now in part 1, he carves the head, and in part 2, which was just published, Dan is going to be carving the torso, the arms, the legs, and the feet. After he's got that all carved up, of course, he's going to show you the finished project. In the video, there's no talking, but Dan shows you some of the measurements and takes you through the process. He's carving everything on camera, and it's pretty easy to see what he's doing and to follow along. So if you're interested in maybe carving yourself a little Daffy Duck figure, this may be the video for you. Check it out. Well, as always, I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for hitting that like button and for all of the comments. Really enjoy your comments, and thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you missed any of our previous episodes, they're right over here. Just click and you'll be able to see a list of 54 different videos that we've already published, with lots of knowledge nuggets there too. See you next week.